This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Toho tokusatsu show Zone Fighter, which made its debut on April 2nd, 1973. Despite some episodes being directed by Godzilla directors and even having Gigan and Godzilla in the show, my exposure has only been clips here and there and that Frankenstein mashup of a film, Godzilla vs. the Galactic Monster. So I figured what better time than now to check out the series. The show only ran for one season, spanning 26 episodes, and I'm going to review the series in a sequence of I don't know how many videos, but multiples. Episode 1, Destroy the Terror Beast Missile. The episode strangely starts off with a large recap-like exposition drop saying where Zone Fighter came from and what the conflict is, which is the alien race Karaga are attacking Earth, and their first monster has landed who does a Godzilla roar when parachuting down, oddly enough. Just seems like something that could have been a whole episode in itself, but they want to get right into the action, it seems. I love this takedown. There's dialogue and music intensifying, and then he's hit. The music abruptly ends and he falls down. Wonderful. One thing to note is that Zone Fighter is one part of a team, the Zone family, who all join in the fistfights, or at least the three children. The fights are fine, some odd quick cuts, but also some cool flips. Zone Fighter is the only one this episode at least that grows to a giant to fight the kaiju threat. The terror beast we get in this episode is Red Spark. I don't like his face. The fight is decent, some cool foreground filled tracking shots, a great finisher with a barrage of missiles and an explosion. Another terror beast, Jakiro, a mecha bull looking guy, soon arrives. I like that his head isn't positioned on the suit actor's head. Not a lot of story here aside from the initial dump, but for a first episode it is enjoyable enough and introduces the key players and concepts like Zone Fighter's depleting power indicator that I assume we'll be seeing throughout. Episode 2, Attack! Destro-King. The kaiju in this episode is Destro-King. Continuing the non-traditional head placement, Destro-King has two heads sitting on the suit actor's hands. At one point during the kaiju-sized Zone Fighter vs. Destro-King fight, the two other Zone kids fly in, human-sized, and shoot lasers to cut off one of Destro-King's heads, which, if they can do that so easily, what's the point of Zone Fighter wrestling around with them? I mean, other than the spectacle, of course. We are also introduced to a new ally, a toy maker who also knows about the Garaga. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyways, this episode didn't do much for me, which you may have been able to tell by the extra brief summary. I do want to say that there's some parts that seem like it was just going to be the exact same sequence of events happening as the last episode, but then they don't work out this time. Made me worry that every episode was going to have a step-by-step formula, and then they changed it up, which I'm very thankful for, and I want to applaud the misdirect. Episode 3, Strike! Garoga's Subterranean Base. This episode starts at the toy store where we meet a new young boy whose mom has left him and his dad is always working. The dad is abducted by the Garoga, and the Zone family fight to set everything right. They do, and even more so, as the kid's mom is back at the end as well. The monster this week is Dodora, and he has one claw arm and one plant arm, and a head on the back of him. I really like that head for some reason. A new technique is debuted, Meteor/Chop. I like it. Dodora deploys a fourth dimension net that looks like this. Cool concept and visuals, but it's easily beaten by another new Zone Fighter technique, Meteor Proton Cut. This is the first time Zone Fighter's list of moves is really highlighted, with the past episodes using really only close hand combat and his wrist missiles. I like the creativity, but hopefully this leads into them becoming obsolete sometime and then him having to learn new moves and not him just whipping out new ones out of thin air undeserved. Episode 4, Invasion. the giant Garoga army, enter Godzilla. Zone Fighter's other brother has appeared on Earth, but so has the monster Wargagar, who has a flamethrower in his mouth, which I'm always a fan of. Zone Fighter is able to put out an energy shield now, which leads to this nice shot. Wargagar also has these gun barrels that come out of his mouth. Don't think I've seen that before. Wargagar eventually retreats, disappearing in this light show. At one point, toys start attacking our protagonist family. I really like that part. This episode has some extra interpersonal conflict, as the sister is excited and happy to see the newly arrived brother, but the others are weary to his suspicious behavior. And they were right. He is an enemy. Wargagar is back with some nice city destruction, something not really seen in the series yet. Most of the monsters have appeared in a big dust bowl with a few buildings thrown in there. But Wargagar is in a city, blowing stuff up, and there's even some military retaliation with tanks and jets. To get to the city faster, Zone Fighter uses an Astro Dash, which allows him to teleport to where the TV is showing. He just kind of jumps into the TV. So odd, and I love it. The sister goes to confront the newly arrived brother, who then transforms into a Garoga, and then into the giant monster Spyler. Zone Fighter is unable to hold his own against both monsters simultaneously, so the younger Zone kid sends off to get help from Godzilla, who is called the Monster of Justice by him. He appears very quickly, like instantly. Godzilla is sporting his late Showa design and an atomic breath brought to life by a smoke machine. It's not bad, just odd to see this late of a Godzilla not using rotoscoped breath. Anyways, it lights Wargagar up to this great visual. Spyler blows up. There's a nice thrown through building shot. This episode was really good. Even if it didn't have Godzilla, it still would have been the best one yet, and by far. Decent enough, better than the constant kidnapping non-kaiju plot, city destruction scenes, military retaliation scenes, more elaborate fights. I'm definitely looking forward to continuing the series and checking out more episodes. The preview for episode 5 shows King Ghidorah joining the fun, so look forward to my video on the next handful of episodes, and thanks for watching.